Hello, everyone. It's Katrin and Seth again.
Hello.
It's Sunday, and we have December 6th. For us in Germany, it's actually Nikolaus Day, and we have been celebrating a little bit already. I hope everybody is doing well. If you're catching a review or replay of this video, we will be talking about approximately 4 points of where to start out in the business and the mistakes we have made and some small resources you could use as well. And with that, I think, first of all, welcome. It's Katrin and Seth. And we are with blendprecisely.io as well as with Aromatherapists in Business. And we also own Petal and Stem Aromatherapy, which is an online essential oil and aromatherapy store, everything aromatherapy needs. So we created the app a while ago and it's live now. And we also added the page and group Aromatherapists in Business. And that is just something I really wanted to do for quite a while, because I felt like, not enough people were coming together or enough aromatherapists had a way to meet each other, especially during these COVID times. It's been really difficult for some of us, at least, to talk about our businesses. And for that reason, we created Aromatherapists in Business. But today, I've got my notes again. I actually really wanted to make sure that we talk about a few things which might help you as well when you make the business decisions, or if you have starting out with your business, or if you're already in your business but you're a little bit stuck. So let us know if you have any comments in between, and I will be able to see them. And without further ado, we're gonna get started. So Seth, you're sitting nicely in front of a Christmas tree.
Hello. I'm ready for Christmas.
Are you? We just had Thanksgiving.
It was good. Twice as better.
So I've brought Seth today actually with me because he has been watching me for many, many years, creating businesses, selling businesses, including a coffee shop, setting up new businesses in California, visiting art markets, creating new websites over and over again, and everything else far in between. And I will never give up to be self-employed. Yet it's been partially a really, really, really difficult path. And he has seen me going through ups and downs until he got involved himself, creating Blend Precisely. But the very first step we actually want to talk about today is when you start out your business, you have an idea mostly. And what we have seen with myself and also other business owners is that you take that idea and you're just going to go and run with the idea before validating it. And I think that is one of the primary mistakes a lot of business owners or new business owners do. They have an idea, they are really passionate about it, and they think they can bring it out onto the market, and then boom, crickets. And Seth, I don't know if you want to put a few observations in there, because you have observed me doing it how many times?
Yeah, it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut, but yeah. So I really wish for people to have a straighter path in business. I'm not sure there's a perfect path. Everybody's kind of on their own journey. But having said that, there are some ways to suffer less. And what Katrin is talking about validating your business is a real critical one. Typically, somebody starts out, if they're no experience in business, they just say, well, I want to do X. And then they start going down the path to creating something, and they spend a huge amount of energy creating that thing, and nobody wants it. Or they run out of money, or, and there's like any number of 5 or 6 core things that you need to pay attention to not suffer. And I would define suffering as wasting money, wasting time, not getting anywhere, getting frustrated, giving up. So We've seen all of those things, and don't do
Yeah,
it.
so the first thing I think what we wanted to say is really, what do your people want? It's not so much about what you want, but it plays, of course, a role. But what is it your clients want, the people who are asking you to create something? And I remember that when I started out, all I wanted to do is like beautiful scrubs, and I wanted to do beautiful oil mixes just for anxiety and depression. Not for anxiety and depression, sorry. I wanted to do the scrubs and I wanted to do the body oils. I was really into that after graduating as an aromatherapist. But then actually the questions which came back was everything about anxiety and depression and children. I'm like, oh, I've created all of this beautiful this beautiful product line, but actually what people wanted was completely different than I imagined after I graduated the school. So I had to like kick myself a little bit and slowly give up on the idea of wanting to create this one thing and shifting a little bit my focus towards what people were asking for. And to be aware of this, it's really not that easy because our minds are wired like, oh, I want to do what is fun. And as much as it's fun, sometimes you cannot just sell it. So
Yeah, but at the same time, you really want to be doing something that you have motivation for, because the flip side of what Katrin is talking about is you just don't like it, or so you need to be doing something that engages you, hopefully a lot, and that needs to match up with what people need.
yeah, so you remember when we went then the next step and we actually started validating the idea. So when we then I started creating courses, and I was like, okay, what should be our first course? And then we went online to BuzzSumo, to Google, and also some other online services which exist. And you can just type in a few keywords and see actually if people are searching for it. So there's a chance when people are searching for it that there might be a market out there. So that was the very first thing. BuzzSumo, for example, is some incredible tool where you can go online and you put your competitor's website in or a keyword, and then it brings up all of the searches people do around that subject. So if you put, for example, in scrubs or body scrubs, you will see how many likes on Facebook and Instagram and how many searches they have been happening around that specific topic. So what you're trying to do is basically match up your desire for what you want to do with what the market wants. And then you try to create like this little circle inside. It's like, okay, this is what I can offer, and this is what is the market wants. So if you can create like this little circle, there might be like this little overlap basically of your desire and the market's desire. And you do need to see that you find that. And so we did the online search a lot. And then what we also did was asking people. I mean, there is nothing more powerful than asking your family, asking your friends, asking your customers, if you have already some, what did you like about my product? What part did you like? What didn't you like? I mean, really asking, and it hurts. Bang. It's like sometimes you don't want to hear it, but there's no business existing, I think, truly, if you don't know what your customers want and what they liked about the product you're offering. And if you have crickets and nobody is buying, then you're probably not offering either the right product, or of course your marketing can be completely off, or you haven't found your right crowd of people. So yeah, so that is just something. Validating your idea in the beginning will save you a lot of headache towards the middle or end of the business, then to not end, but towards
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, there's one little thing I would add to that. Another core business concept is if you find that circle that crosses over there, within that circle is a pie. So if there's 100 people in that pie, and somebody's already selling to that pie, there'll you really haven't got enough people to make a business out of it. If there's a million people and they own like 80% of the market, 20% of a million, that's a business. There's something you can do with that. So yeah, so don't be shy. Be creative. Think outside the box and be flexible.
Yeah, but I think also what is another beautiful point is like if you're really passionate about something and you really want to do it, what you could do is the offer of, you called it I think earlier, Seth, MVP. The
The minimal viable product, MVP.
Yeah, so what this would be is like you create the product, but then you do have to test it if people like it. So what you would do is let's just create a small amount of the product and give it away, but then also be sure that you go back, ask for feedback, because you cannot just give samples out and think it's like, oh, many people got my sample now and this product is going to work. No, you give samples out to 20 people and you hold these 20 people responsible to an answer, and you want that answer back, because otherwise you're also doing some magic tricks with your mind there, which is happening anyway. So
Right.
creating the product, and we did this, for example, we wanted to bring these two examples with two of our businesses which went well, and the other one which didn't go so well. So the one which didn't go so well was my store opening in Lisbon, the Aromatherapy store. And at first, I didn't even intend it to be a store, but my children were going to school, to the German school in Lisbon, and I had to go drive back and forth, and I was just looking for an office to be in Lisbon close to where they are. Hi, Jackie. Yes, you are catching us. It's true. So we went back and forth to the store, or I went back and forth to Lisbon. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to rent an office and it's going to be cheaper than all the gas money back and forth. And then after a while, people were knocking on the door because they could see me inside saying, it's like, when are you opening? Because it was like a glass window. And then I turned to Seth, as like, well, maybe I should open up an aromatherapy store. And he's like, well, yeah, maybe you can do that because you're there anyway. And, you know, as a supporting husband, always, we opened up a store. Now, the real problem was it was not in a really good area to open up a store because it was pretty much dead. So the entire walking zone is or pedestrian zone was empty most of the day. So yes, you can open up a store, and if you don't speak Portuguese, you know, forget it even more. But I had this idea in my mind. It's like, okay, if I open up a store, people will come. Nope.
Yeah, I think that if we had really chosen to follow that dream, we could have moved the store to another location and done other things. And we decided against that for multiple reasons. But it's the point Katrin is making is, you know, you can make something beautiful, and it was really beautiful. But if you have the wrong location or wrong anything, then you have to be willing to close your hand and move on.
Yeah, that is always the question. When is it the right time to shut it down or to not do it? And it was a painful, painful decision, but I actually ended up with a back surgery and I was home by myself, Seth, in America. So it was a clear point that I had to stop the location in Lisbon. But I closed it down in Lisbon as a physical location. But of course, I kept the online store. And then now I suddenly had much more time to focus on the online store, which was at the end a super relief. Now, we did it right with our app, Blend Precisely. And that's where we really went step by step through the validation process. And the way we did it was basically that we came up with an idea and we had a group of people who tested it. Then we had a second group of founding members. And then we did a small beta launch. So we really took it step by step and worked it out every little bit of the way. And with Blend Precisely now, with the group of people we have or the customers we have, it's become such a beautiful small family almost, that they can give us honest feedback at any time. And this feedback is helping us and them and then future customers to really build out the product. So this time we really did this. And now we can grow out like this with the blend. Before, I felt like we did like this all the time, like, oh, I can do this and this and this and this. And it's not true.
Yeah. So that she's talking about is being scattered and trying to pull out your shotgun, say, I'm going to do sell chocolate and camel rides and everything. This is not a business. You can't do this. You need focus, and then at a later point you can grow the business. But the first step is to get focused. And one thing I wanted to point out is the important bit that launched the Blend Precisely was rooted in a very personal experience from Katrin, the aromatherapist, just being really frustrated with this is complicated to figure out all this stuff. Dear husband, can you do something? And, if she, as an aromatherapist who's gone through a certification process, is having this frustration, are other people having that problem? That's where your clue is, where there's a problem. If you can solve people's pain, then you have a business. And we did go through the validation process that she was talking about to see if it was more than just her that was suffering in this way. And we discovered, well, yeah, a lot of people. Math drives people nuts. The spreadsheets, you can make very good spreadsheets, but it still drives people nuts. And they get confused and they have multiple copies and crazy stuff happens.
All right. Yeah. Jackie mentioned as well, location is so very important. I agree. I mean, I'm still dreaming of like a small coffee shop, aroma coffee shop. But the next time I would ever do this is definitely choose the location very wisely. Coming to the next point, I think what is so important is the why. Why are you doing the business? And that has something to do actually with the value you're also trying to put out into the world, and also your mission. And I actually wrote down a small little from Jade Shoots. She said on her website, and I think that is so precise why you should really try to find the why. She says, I'm a strong advocate for the use of aromatherapy and herbal medicine for self-care, healthcare, and believe education is the key to self-empowerment. I believe aromatherapy plants a seed in each of us, awakening our inherent relationship with the beauty and wisdom of the natural world. So finding the why for yourself, finding the why also for the others, that they understand why you're doing the business. And Jackie, I'm so glad she married you to solve her problem. Laughing out loud, I was suffering too. I have a very hard time with math equations. I only married him for creating Blend Precisely for me. No, so yeah, so the why is important for yourself. The why is important for the others as well. So when you create your business and you write down your mission statement or your value of your business, the why is important. So I would say as well right now, why did I want this business, for example, right now, Blend Precisely? Because I really, really, truly want to help other aromatherapists create a profit and get their products out into the market, and do not need to spend a lot of their time on math equations, and quite the opposite, to have more time available to blend. But at the same time, I also wanted to create a community. So this is my why. I really love to be in this community of aromatherapists and to exchange ideas and to make things better and to make us all being able to create a business and stay in the business. Creating a business is almost the easy part, but staying in the business is the hard part. And that is my why. And I found that it seems like also to be the why of others, because when I see Tracy and Jackie and Dan coming back to these lives, and thank you for that, then I know why I created this environment. Yeah. Seth, I don't know.
I have to just point out, Katrin and I are highly driven to do good things, and Katrin is continually absorbing information from all over the place. It is her passion, and for me, it's painful for me not to have enough time. We have a family, we have a life, and as things go, you have to let go of the work. For example, if there's Christmas, you can't be inhuman and say, I'm not doing Christmas. So, but it's just,
Seth,
you need this internal drive. You need that internal connection with what you're trying to do. And for me, a bad day is one where I don't get to work on the business. So, and I know Katrin struggles with this quite a bit too. She can't get enough time to do what she loves.
Yeah, Tracy just said a really beautiful comment here too. I recently discovered my infused carrier oils are what people want right now, but my oil blends just sat on the shelf, so I appreciate this. The second request is self-care for emotions. What a timely topic. Exactly, Tracy. So what you did probably was literally listening to what people want. And there you go. You've got this feedback and you're creating it, and you might have found now this beautiful magical way of doing business, helping people, and at the same time doing what you love to do too. And that is so important. That is exactly, I think, what business should feel like. Sorry, it's my German. Sometimes when I say chicken, everybody loves at me. I'm supposed to say chicken, and I can't say it. So business, not business. So yes, thank you, Tracy. Exactly. So Seth also scoot in. Oh, just another example of somebody who actually nailed their market as well is, for example, Leah Jacobson. She just knows exactly what her people wanted. And it might not be for everyone, but she's got a whole bunch load of people sitting there watching her talk about safety information. So she is basically giving what people are asking for. So that is another example. I also think, for example, Lab Aroma is another example. She's very much focused, Colleen is very much focused on the cannabis side right now. So she also has found her crowd of people, and that's what her podcasts are about as well. So really tapping slowly into what people want and what your interest is, and finding the marriage of those two. I think that is really beautiful. Just moving on. So that was the why, that you really know and understand why you want to have the business and how it should look like as well, for you and the others. But another one is the who. So whom you will support in the business, who is your customer, and finding that. It's a little bit going into the why as well, why you're doing it and why your customers want you, but the whom you're serving is as important. And I'm not a big believer anymore in this one ideal client avatar, because I think we can serve an entire community of people. But it might be the community of people who suffers from anxiety or from depression or from have children under 5 and they're scared about essential oils, but they want to use them, and then they need you because you're the aromatherapist and you know exactly everything about oils and children under 5. So whom you're serving is as important as your why. And I hope my paper is not scratchy here. But also another part is, and I don't know, Seth, we talked about this a little bit before, is like whom we are serving, but also from where you get your information from. So basically that you're not alone in the world.
Yeah, it's really, really important to find the people that you trust. You're pretty much throughout the entire business community, the idea of finding a mentor or a coach of some kind that, for whatever reason, you believe them, you trust them, is really important. And some of the people that we listen to, we're a big fan of Richard Branson, Amy Porterfield, Stu McLaren. If you don't know these names, they're good names. So but nobody just spontaneously becomes a genius at business. It comes from somewhere. So it's important to define who you can trust, but also to have a community of people, and preferably people that are kind of where you're at, or maybe even a little ahead of where you're at, that can say, hey, let me hear your idea, and they'll give you honest feedback. You need people that you can trust, that they're not just going to be saying, oh yeah, no, that's good. Those people are your worst enemy. You need people that are critical of you and will tear apart your product or your idea until it hurts, and then you're forced to, understand what you need to do to make it better. And those people, as mean as it sounds, are your best friends. So, yeah.
But also what I need to add to this is there's also a way of asking the wrong good people, maybe. I mean, there might be people tearing your product apart because they are jealous and envious that you have a product. But then also you might have people who don't understand anything about your product. So those are the wrong people to ask, most likely, as well. So what I think Seth means is that you really find pretty much the tribe we are in right now. When I have something with the product we created for you, the blend precisely, I now want to go to Tracy and Jackie and Dan and want to ask you, is like, what do you think about this? Because I know they're going to give me an honest answer back. And that is the group of people you want to have around you, because they're where you early adopters maybe, or they know your product already, or you send them a little sample, or you send them even like the about page of your website. It's like, hey, Tracy, can you just read through this quickly? What do you think? Does that make sense to you? And those little things are so beautiful and so meaningful to the business. And that's what I found as well in when I'm in different business groups, is we are all in the same boat. And that's why I created this here. We are in the same boat. So we are not competitors. We are actually maybe future partners. Maybe we are at one point working together. Who knows? But I would like to ask you, and not my grandmother who has no idea about aromatherapy.
Yeah, I think that's why we created the Aromatherapists in Business Facebook group. We saw all these other business environments doing these mastermind classes and things like this, where it was people were just hungry for, I got this idea, but I don't want to give it out because somebody might steal it or something like this, and you need a group where it's just a safe environment for you to explore ideas and get some kind of feedback, whether it's positive or negative, to just say, am I being realistic? Do you think this will go? Or whatever it is. So we all need some kind of feedback. And we've had personal friends that tried to start a business and they were just trying to do it all in their head. And that's a guaranteed way to fail. You can't just make a business in your head. You need to talk to other people and you need to explore. And, if you're an introvert, then partner with somebody that isn't an introvert, or in some way you have to work with it. But businesses need to breathe people and ideas and money. That's a business. And so don't try and do it all in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Jackie is saying yes, and Tracy saying absolutely. And Jackie, you said so hard to find a tribe. I would be actually interested in, you mean finding your tribe of customers or finding your tribe of people you can talk to? Because I know you're in Florida, and yeah, so if you have an answer, let me know too. But just moving on to the last subject, and that is pretty much engaging with your customers, engaging with the people you have sent your products to or your small idea to. And I think it's definitely become much more difficult to engage with them, especially if you were in a brick and mortar store, or if you had possibilities to meet your clients and have consultations in person. Now that has been pretty much all been removed from us, and we see a lot of businesses struggle. So my if I were to do this again, and I mentioned that I think on another live, it's like I would literally choose one of the following. I would choose one platform where I would sell my stuff on. So that is for us in this case Shopify. I would choose one social media account, not two, not three, not four, because people can't handle that much information to spread every day. Because if you choose one social media account, maximum maybe two, but one, because Instagram and Facebook pretty much work hand in hand now, but you find different audiences on these two. But I would choose one platform to start out. Facebook, for example, I would create a Facebook page and I would create a Facebook group. And the reason is the page is great for distributing. It's basically how somebody said it so beautifully. The Facebook page is the window you can look inside to the house where the living room is the group is happening. So everything is happening inside the group. And the Facebook page is the window, and the Facebook group is actually the living room where people are meeting up and talking because it's a private group. But you do need to have a Facebook page in order if you want to run maybe some ads at one point. The Facebook group doesn't allow that. So that's why, for example, you want to have a Shopify account or an Etsy account or any of the other great websites existing. Then you want to have one social media account. Then you want to have one way to collect emails, and you want to have one way every week to communicate to your customers with anything, if it is going live. And yes, that is a hard thing to do, and it took me years and years and years to show up here in front of you live. Or if you just send them a really nice a really nice newsletter every week, a nice blog post, anything your customer or your potential customer might be interested in. So those are the 4 things. I'm going to repeat them one more time. As a way to sell your products, a way to be social, a way to collect email addresses, and a way to nurture your clients every week. That is pretty much my do just one right now, and then you will see already the nurturing part is super important.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we're talking about is based on an online business, but there's more than enough room in the aromatherapy world to be offline. And in this era of COVID and lockdown and all of that, everything's kind of being forced over into that online world. And it's just a fact of life. People are staring at their phones and ordering from Amazon and online stuff. But one thing I really want to emphasize that Katrin just touched on briefly was complexity. It's really easy to drive yourself nuts with trying to figure out all the tools you should use and all of the business processes you can do. But making things simple and clear is really almost one of the top tier important things you can possibly do.
But if that is almost the hardest thing, to be simple. It's so hard for, I think, many creative people especially. It's so hard to be simple, but it's so effective. I really saw that now. It's so effective. I'm going live here every Sunday. Before I was like, oh, maybe I go live on a Monday, maybe on a Wednesday. Oh no, not on a Wednesday, maybe on a Wednesday. So it's so good to set that in stone. It's like every Sunday at 5 p.m. Lisbon time for us, we go live. And that's it. And then on Monday, I'm going to send out an email with the Facebook Live, but also the points for people in case they missed it to my email list. So it's so easy it's so hard to be simple, but it's so effective. I can't emphasize this enough. Like even 1 or 2 products, but really market them well is so much better than creating this whole line of products, and then you have to put labels on each of the products, and then you have to create different sizes and prices, and I don't know what else. And it's a waste of money sometimes and time. But I just wanted to come back quickly to Tracy's comment. And yes, Jackie, the page analogy, I like that. I love analogies. Actually, Seth is really good at those. He hasn't gotten anyone today, huh? But Tracy says, so you use the group to nurture. Yes, yes. So the page is really where you get your traction going, Tracy. So Facebook sees when you're really, really active on your page and on the groups as well. But it's easy to get people to your page. It's a little bit harder to get them into the group. So what you want to do is really nurture the group really well and invite people from your page into your group and give them some extra love in your group. Yeah, so definitely the group is for nurturing. This is where you have your Thanksgiving dinner or your Christmas. That's inside the group. And then on the page, you have beautiful window flowers and whatnot else. It's like your shop front, basically. I need to speak in flowers. I love flowers. So I don't know if Seth wants to say anything else, but we're at 36 minutes already. Let me see. Jackie is coming in. Just 1 second. Jackie says, what is hard for me is to do everything plus life. I don't have cash flow to hire things out, so I'm slower to do everything. Exactly. That is so very hard. And I totally understand you, Jackie. So my days were looking when Seth was over in America, my days looked like 4 a.m. getting up, working until 7 a.m., getting up my children, and then bringing them to school, picking them up at 3:30, and then the evening round started. And in between, I'm still homeschooling. So I totally understand what you're saying, Jackie. I think somebody else calls it tiger time. You have to be aggressive with your time. And I love that because tigers are big and they roar, and we need that because mothers, especially mothers, I think they are so social and they're trying to take care of everything. But I think you have to let everyone know when it's your time, and you really need to try to put that time onto your calendar every day or every week or every Friday, whatever it is. The same like putting a live onto your calendar on Sundays. You have to put it onto everybody's calendar and say, on that day, that is my time, and you're not going to interrupt me.
Yeah, I would expand on that a little bit to say that part of knowing when you're working is knowing when you're not working. So if you don't tell people when you're not working, then to them, you're always working. It becomes a very frustrating experience. So you need to know both. When am I working and when am I off? Because everybody needs to de-stress and all of that. And also, I would like to mention, if you're trying to do too much, you will fail. There's no question. If you don't have enough time, and you can see your own track record where you've tried for 6 months or a year, and that's just your pattern. You want to do 10 things, but you can only do 1 per day. That just means that you need to focus on the best one thing. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is to be really clear on what means success and not to be scattered. And so I was in a business course long ago in a place far away, little wonderful institution called the Renaissance Business Center in San Francisco. And it was very interesting because this very experienced teacher was saying, what do you want to do? And he went around to everybody in the class, and everybody was doing this scattered thing. And he knew that would happen because he was an experienced guy. And he says, pick one. And it was the hardest thing. Nobody could do it. Then nobody could let go of all of that because they wanted to do all of that. But it's so important. Just one, not a lot. So, and it's particularly if you don't have cash flow, if you don't have time, you just need to get focused and clear and make sure your message and your product is crystal clear. Anybody should be able to walk up. You should be able to tell them in 15 seconds and then go, oh yeah, I wish I had that. That's the response you want. And that's how clear you need to be.
And that's actually also something you want to make sure when people get to your Facebook page, when they get to your website, when they get on anything where you're online, that nobody, I mean, everybody hates to need to figure out what is this person doing. So when they look on your Facebook page, be very simple there. I do XYZ, or I serve XYZ customers, and that's it. I think there's so much noise in the business world that everybody tries to be a little bit smart and a little bit different and a little bit quirky and a little bit this. But often what is really needed is like, this is what I do. That's it. We have the Facebook page banner available to us. Put it on there. And then have your small, cute little picture down below. Same on the website. This is whom I serve. And then avoid all the other customers, because they're going to give you a headache and they're going to come and say, oh, I would like to do this. And then you jump on this and then you only sell one product. And I've done it all. And now it's just like, this is what I do. And I think that's a beautiful idea what you're bringing to me, but I can't serve you right now. But why don't you go to this other person who serves that part? And that's why it's also nice to have this community here, because we might be able to send one to another. And I want to create this library of aromatherapists, actually, where we know what each other is, or who's doing what, so we can actually send traffic to you. And I think that's what the community is about.
Yeah, I would like to invite everybody watching this video to come to the Aromatherapists in Business group, not the page. Subscribe to the group. We need you. And I think you would be very happy to meet some of the people that are on there that can help you, and you can probably help other people.
Yeah, I think that was a really long live on a Sunday. Whoever was watching that on a Sunday, thank you so much. We were thinking, what do you guys think? Is a Sunday actually a really bad day? Because our kids are definitely complaining that we are on a Sunday evening sitting on a live here. But that was pretty much the time also Seth could make it, because he's working a full-time job. But let us know if a Sunday is actually a good day for you, or what day is good for you, and maybe what time. But we do have to think global. So Jackie is saying yes to what you just said, Seth. And Tracy is saying, good point. I was focused on the side effects of cancer survivors, but then I got the question, which side effects? So I need to choose. Interesting point. Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes things go hand in hand a little bit. But I do think if you get a question asked over and over again, you most likely have a business there. And that is important to remember. If you don't know right now what you're really good at, ask the people you know or who know you. They will tell you if they're your tribe and you're good and your family members and whatnot else. Don't ask people who will judge you wrong. Don't do that. But yeah, so thank you, everyone. And Sunday, and we will see you next week back, hopefully. And if you have any questions in between, make sure you send us a comment or a message as well in our groups, or per messenger as well. We are available. We are looking at everything. So have a wonderful one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ciao.